Let's have a look. Seems like we are live. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are streaming live. All three our platforms are live. If you want to get hold of us or watch any of our episodes, you can watch them on our Action Factory Global Facebook page. You can find us on the Action Factory YouTube channel, or you can find us on LinkedIn, and you can follow us, connect, and enjoy. Every Monday this time, I do a limitless live stream. I don't know if it's a podcast or a live stream, whatever it is, but we talk about limitless. We talk about topics that are directly related to who we are as humans, and how do I take myself or even a client, if you're a coach or a practitioner, I don't take myself or someone else just up a notch, just to another level. So tonight's topic is something that I tend to have been talking about quite a bit with a lot of people lately. So I like kind of keeping my ear on the ground. If there's a topic that pops up often with a lot of people, then that's what I talk about on here. So tonight's topic is, how do you tap into your best energy? Now, I'm not talking about cosmic energy or any kind of, I don't want to use the word weird. I almost did. I'm not talking about that strange energy. I'm talking about physical energy, work energy. How do you get yourself in your own peak level of efficiency for your own work? If you're running your own business, how you're most creative? If you're a team leader, how do you perform at your maximum? What's kind of a little bit of a secret behind that? So I want to start off and start off with this statement. So years ago, I was one of these guys, early mornings, man. You'd find me at the office at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. I'm at the office already. I'm working already. I would be up early in the morning and I'll be working very early. That was my productivity time. My brain functioned. I could do seven things at the same time, multitask. Man, I was really in flow. What is interesting, and when I say earlier years, not that far in the distant time frame, a couple of years ago still. But what is interesting now, and it's not because I'm older, it's literally something has changed in me. Now I'm at my peak around about 10 in the morning. If you want me to really be effective, please don't expect me to be dressed up and ready at 7 o'clock in the morning. No, I have a very slow routine in the mornings now. Um, it's as if my entire day and everything has shifted. So here's the secret, or one of the concepts I want to talk to you guys about tonight. Each of us have got our own system. What we tend to do is we very often listen to experts, or I almost want to say gurus, smart people that know what they're talking about, and they're highly effective and efficient people, and they tell us about the system that they use. And then we decide, well, I'm going to follow that system as well. We follow that system only to find ourselves exhausted after 6 months, drained, no creativity, no energy, tires are flats, and just not things are just not happening the way they should. So I kind of sat down and made a couple of notes and asked myself, all right, so what have I learned through the years? And I want to summarize it in three main points. And I have made some notes. So if I refer to my notes every now and then tonight, just excuse me because I think it's relevant just to stay accurate. So there's three main things I really want to talk around tonight. Number one is align with your natural energy. You've got to figure out what your natural energy is. We're going to unpack that tonight, what I mean by it, and how can you actually find the right cycle for you. So you've got to find your natural energy. You've got to embrace what I call focus work time, and you've got to realize that rest is a non-negotiable. It's part of the process. So there's a couple of points I'm going to mention just to build foundation. And then I'm going to give you guys 10 things you can measure in your own life that really would influence your ability to be efficient, to be effective, to be creative, to be the top and best version of you, to really just operate at your prime. And guys, we operate at our prime at different times in the day. Again, I'm going to say this over and over tonight, probably. My cycle or my recipe is my recipe. It doesn't mean it's your recipe. We'll go through a process on how do I identify what my recipe is for yourself so that you can follow your own recipe. And if you find your own recipe that worked for you, you become a better version of you. You are more productive, you function better, and whenever you do something, the results are just up a couple of notches. So, just for those that have joined late, because I know some of you guys have joined late, we're talking about how to maximize our energy cycles so that we are at our best productive states throughout the day. So, let's dive in about just a couple of points that we need to understand just to get a call it a fundamental or foundation understanding about it. So the first one I want to talk about is energy is a wave, guys. It's not a straight line. So what does that mean? It means that not everybody wakes up at a certain time at 4:30 in the morning, and then they've got high energy up until 11, and then it drops, and they've got to go sleep for 2 hours, and then at 3 o'clock they've got straight energy, high energy again. There's a lot of gurus out there that are trying to teach systems that work, and it's I sometimes watch this stuff, and it's like, bro, you're forcing your system down on me. It doesn't really work. So the first fundamental concept we need to understand is that energy, firstly, is not a straight line, it's a flow, it's a wave. So your energy throughout the day will have peaks and valleys. There's times in the day that you'll be more energized, more effective than other times in the day. And it's going to vary through your life and it's going to vary in your days. So just because something is working for you now doesn't really mean it's going to work 5 years from now. We've got to understand energy is a wave. So stop trying to replicate what works for others and stop fighting your own natural rhythm. That's probably the biggest problem people have is they look at someone else's process and they, yeah, okay, they wake up at this time, they gym from this time to this time, they have this kind of a breakfast, and they operate from this time to this time, and they're highly effective. And they try and force themselves into that process. No, no, no. It's a wave, and that wave is different for every human being. There are times in the day when you're going to feel fantastic. There's times in the day when you are going to have a lower energy wave and you're going to feel down. The secret is to figure out what does your wave look like. When is your wave high? And when it is high, that's when you do the important functions of the day. Find out when your wave is low. You'll have some kind of a routine in your day, usually at a certain time, or sometimes two different times. So I know mine, for example, from 3 to 5 in the afternoons, my energy drops and it goes into a dip. It goes low. I am not going to do very, very important tasks at that time. My high energy between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the mornings. That's when I'm at my highest. And that's when I want to do the most important things. From in the evenings, from about 7 to about 8:39, I get a very high energy again. So that's why I'm doing this podcast, 7 o'clock in the evenings. Most people feel exhausted this time. They want to chill, they want to put their feet up and relax and watch TV or whatever the case may be. I get a bit of an energy boost again. So I know where in my day, not yours, yours is different. Figure out what yours is. I know in my day when my energy is high, when I'm at my most creative, my most effective, my most efficient, and I work accordingly. I know when my energy is low, I work accordingly. If you try and make an appointment with me for a coaching session, for example, you won't get one between 3 and 5. Very, very seldom. It's got to be an emergency. I've blocked out those times in my calendar so that clients cannot book coaching because I know I'm not performing at that time of day. But I'll coach you at 7 o'clock at night or 7:30, 8 o'clock. my energy is up again. You've got to figure out what your wave looks like, and you've got to make it work for you. Is that cool? That's the first one. Energy is not a stagnant line or a straight line, it's a wave. Number two, multitasking. Just building foundation here. Multitasking is what I call the myth that sells burnout. For years, I remember when I was, at the office at 7 o'clock. It worked for me at that stage. I'm not knocking it. But one of the things I kind of felt very proud of was that I could multitask. Man, I could do so many things at the same time, think about so many things. There'll be three different people in my office, and I'll be having three different conversations with them. Man, I could master of multitasking. But I've grown wiser. I've observed myself. I've measured my own level of efficiency through the years. So here's a little bit of a statement. I've made it already, but I am going to repeat it. Multitasking is the myth that sells burnout. True efficiency is not based in multitasking. True efficiency is based on the art of learning how to monotask. So I strategize my days as well to ensure that there's one task, one type of a conversation, or one topic I'm going to talk about. And I really, I know this sounds strange, but for a couple of hours tend to monotask, focus on one very, very, very particular thing. So I would much rather do less in a day, but do what I do exquisitely well than do 100 little things and none of them are great. So one of the little bit of foundational concepts, if you will, philosophies, truths. If you want to get peak performance, to get rid of the multitasking and start monotasking. Let's make it a new in word, monotasking. So that's the second one. Number three, and I did mention this earlier, but I am going to mention it again because this is a vital, vital one. Rest is not a luxury nor a reward. Rest is a requirement. So, what do I mean by that? We've got to understand that we are energy based. Every time we do something, we're burning energy and we need to recharge and we need to rest. Rest is what gives us the energy so that we can be highly effective. Guys, you got to understand that one. Rest is what gives you the energy to be highly effective. Now, we all have different cycles of our energy again, and I've become very much aware of mine. My body and my brain tells me exactly, Dion, it's rest time. Now, what does rest mean? I'm not talking about sleep. I'm talking about rest in the day. You don't really need a long rest. I know some people will say, yeah, siesta time between 12 and 2, we sleep. If you can do that and fit that into your day and it works for you, great, go for it. But very often a 20-minute rest, or even if you have to push it in a 5-minute rest, is beautiful. It really makes us more effective. So what does rest mean? Rest means that not necessarily close your eyes and sleeping. Sometimes rest is get up from your desk wherever you're sitting, go for a walk. Rest could mean, for me, what works extremely well, and this is the way I very often would rest. I put my headphones on and I listen to crazy music, lovely music, beautiful music. I'm a classic guy, so I very often would listen to classical music. It's 20 minutes of that, I feel recharged, I feel amazing, and I can push for another couple of hours. So figure out, learn to, and I will talk about this later, but monitor your own cycle and allow yourself to rest. Bring it into your schedule if you have to. Because I'm going to say this again, it's not a luxury. It's not a reward. Rest is a requirement. You've got to rest. All right. Now, number four, you are your own best kept secret. So, what I mean by that, the answer to your highest level of productivity, the answer to your best forms of creativity, the answer to your powerful efficiency timeframes. That answer lies in you. If if you think other people should tell you what that is, you're missing it. You need to feel comfortable with yourself that you are the person, the only person that can tell you when you are at your best and your your prime time frame in the day when you work. What does that cycle look like? So ask yourself a simple question. When do you feel the most alive? If you look at the last week or the last couple of days, which time of the day do you normally find yourself feeling really alive, feeling really energized, feeling amazing? What type of the day or time of the day do you feel lethargic? Do you feel a little bit exhausted? And find the time frame of your day. That's your efficient time. That's the time you want to really focus on because that data is unbelievably valuable. I mean, think about it. If you can figure out what your most effective time is and you do the most important tasks in your life in that time, do you know what the result difference in your life is going to be? It's going to be huge. It's a massive difference. So learn to learn to be observant and aware and figure out your best time zones. You are your best source of information. The last one I want to mention is our energy systems are not static. They are constantly evolving as we are evolving. Now, what does that mean? It means that what worked 5 years ago doesn't necessarily work today. Whatever job function I'm doing today or whatever career I'm in right now, I've had a variety of different careers. And for each career, my energy system was different. If you are an administrative person, you sit behind a desk and you work on a computer, compared to you as an individual being an external consultant where you traveling a lot and meeting clients at their offices and your energy cycle will look different for those functions. So it's not a static straight line. It's not one size fits all. It's evolving, it's changing, determined on what age you are, determining on what you do, and determined on where are you in your life. Those are the five fundamental concepts we need to understand. So, what are the things we want to measure? How do I know what's important? So I've made a list of what I believe. And you know what? If you find more things for that list, add more things to that list. And if you look at the list, you say, Dion, this list is exhaustive. I only find three of them important. Then you only take three of them and you focus on them. But I've made a list of about 10 things that I believe are the things that is going to influence your peak energy levels. So if I measure them and I apply the correct recipe that works for me in my life, I'm putting myself in a position where I can operate at my peak energy level. So I'm not telling you what they are. Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly how they work. I'm going to tell you what they are, what to look for, and then you can take the answer from that and apply it in your life. So number one, what is your energy chronotype? So there are people that operate from 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they push till about three, four. That's their peak, and then they rest. I mentioned this right in the beginning. Right now in my life, I'm at my best from 10 in the morning till about 3 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock, but generally speaking, about 10 to 3, and then tonight from about 7 to 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I know exactly where are my time zones that I'm at my most creative, most efficient, most effective. You've got to figure out what is your time frame. What is it when you feel, what time do you feel the most alert? When do you feel the most creative? When do you feel very, very focused? When you can really go into flow state? Is it very early? Is it later? When is it? Figure that out and schedule your most important tasks. Obviously, in the time frames when your energy is at its peak. Simply because if those tasks are important and your energy is at peak, you're going to do them better and the results are going to be better. Straightforward as that. All right, number two, what else can we measure? Task management. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say you are multitaskers. I get it. Be honest with yourself and go measure your own performance results. Go look at yourself and say, what am I busy actually doing when I am producing the best results? Now, I know some of you guys do like the stimulation of multitasking, but don't overdo it, but do measure it. So for some people, and I know someone like that, he always needs to be doing two things at the same time. So if he's busy typing something on his computer, he's got to have a pen and paper where he can write as well. If he's busy having a conversation with someone, he's got his cell phone on and he's recording voice notes. It's almost like in the same category, his brain needs to function on two separate levels for him to be at his peak. So again, each to his own, everybody's got their own formula. Go and really be honest and go measure some of your own results in your own life. When were you doing things that really produced magnificent results? And then ask yourself, how many tasks were you busy on? Were you in flow state where you got rid of all outside noises, complete isolation, or was there some music in the background? What was the scenario about? Go and really take note of that and make a note to yourself. All right, next one, sleep pattern. Now, a lot of people talk about how many hours you should sleep. And then there's another group about that talks about quality of sleep. Everybody's different. Again, I know years ago, I functioned really well if I slept between 5 and 6 hours in a day. Just I would sleep once in the day, 5 to 6 hours. However, I could very easily take a Sunday afternoon nap for about 2 hours and sleep well that night again. I'm different now. Now in my life, I need 8 hours sleep. If I sleep 7 hours, I find I don't have the sustainable energy throughout my day. But if I sleep too much, then I'm also really lethargic in the day and I struggle. I don't take naps in the day. Sunday afternoon naps are out. Because if I do, my night's sleep is not that much of a quality sleep. So I figured out my sleeping pattern, and I do break the rule occasionally because I'm a bit of a night owl and sometimes I stay awake too late. But I've become fairly disciplined in ensuring I kind of go to sleep at a very specific time. And I'm optimizing what's the sleep quality and quantity that I require for me to be able to function. Sleep is, man, it's guys, it's more important than what most of you guys realize. Some people, and I'm just going to give you some examples. Some people cannot sleep properly if there's an alarm that's going to wake them up. It's something at the back of the subconscious mind that doesn't allow them to sleep properly because they worry the whole night if the alarm's going to go off. Some people need to wake up with a cup of coffee. Others need to, I mean, one of our coaches we trained, I giggle sometimes when he does his daily videos. He goes for a swim early morning. I think that's kind of his way to wake up and really recharge him for the days. Go for a swim. If it's warm or cold or whatever the case may be, he goes for a swim. Some people work, sleep for 6 hours, but they need to take a 90-minute nap. Another friend of mine sleeps, I'm trying to remember now. He goes to sleep really strange hours. I think he goes to sleep at about 11ish, and then he wakes up around about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then he works for a couple of hours, and then he takes a nap again, and then he goes to sleep again. So he sleeps basically sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day. He's kind of broken up his day into different cycles simply because it worked for him. So again, what worked for you? Have you measured it? Have you allowed yourself just to take a step back from the hustle and the bustle and the busy life? So what really works for me? When am I really energized? When am I operating at my prime? And when have I got that great energy levels? Now, here's a little bit of a quick secret, practical thing. Your sleep cycle for during your work days and weekends could produce different results. Some people sleep differently over the weekends than what they do in the week. So compare the two and notice which one works best for you, giving you the best energy levels. But also, what is quite interesting, look at your sleep cycles when you go on holiday. What do you sleep like? Because most of the time when we go on holiday, we're actually quite active in the day, especially if it's an adventurous holiday and you're doing a whole lot of things and you're optimating at that prime state on holiday. Well, what does your sleep cycle look like when you're on holiday? And how sustainable is it? So go and do that measure and, well, apply what works. All right, next one, nutrition and hydration. Again, each to their own. Um, I look at my life, my wife, for her to have sustainable energy throughout the day, she wakes up, one of the first things she does, she makes a bowl of oats or muesli. She needs early morning fiber for her to function. Me, I can go an entire day very often and not eat anything, but I need water. I need to hydrate constantly. I need hydration for me personally is absolutely vital to sustain my energy levels. Very often when I train and I know I'm training a whole day, I deliberately do not eat because the moment I eat, it's as if my energy levels just drop for the next 2 hours. And when I train or teach an important course, I can't afford that. I want my energy levels to be at their peak. And I've figured that out. Food has got that effect on me. The moment I eat for the next half an hour or hour, my energy levels drop. So I most of the time drink a lot of water throughout the day. I have my morning coffee. Of course, I'm a coffeeaholic. I needed the coffee. I have my coffee and I'll drink water and I'll have one meal at 6 o'clock in the evenings. And it works for me, but it doesn't work for everybody. A lot of people I know, they have to have a breakfast, a snack, a light lunch, another snack, and then supper and another snack, whatever. Don't look at this as this is right and that's wrong. Notice and experiment with different paths. If you're in that routine where I remember my early years, I had a huge breakfast, a light lunch, and supper. Um, and at that stage in my life, it worked. And I know a lot of people that does that, and it works for them. It's not a matter. I don't believe what's right or what's wrong. It's really what works for you, what puts you in your prime state, and what keeps you at that high energy level. All right, next one up, moving, physical activity. One of our coaches as well, I mean, I loved it one day. I watched him when he was busy doing training and he was standing up and in the break times he'll pick up a dumbbell and do some exercise. And someone actually said to you know, do you have so much energy while you're working, you've got to get rid of it? He says, no. I do the exercises for the energy it gives me. Mm. And something dropped in my head. Physical movement stimulates the body, stimulates the blood, oxygen pumping, and it actually increases our energy levels. So if you're gonna if you sit, I sit most of my day. I sit behind this camera and this is where I work. This is my little world. But I need to ensure that the blood's flowing and I've got oxygen going to my brain. So my posture for me is important. And you see I'm very active with my hands and I move around quite a bit. But when I take a body break, I get up and I walk and I walk quite fast. I move. So for me, I've realized that I cannot go an entire day being at my prime just sitting on a chair. I need movement. I need some form of physical activity. Now, again, everybody's different. I've got some friends, they have to go to the gym and do strenuous exercises in the morning. Other people need to go for an afternoon walk. There are some people late at night, they've got to go do some form of a yoga or stretching exercises. Each to their own. Figure out what works for you. And if it works, that's your recipe. But again, remember it's not a static state. 5 years from now, test it again because it's probably changed. All right. Next one up. Measure your own rest and recovery cycles. So it's not rest is not a concept where you stop working. Rest could be an activity. So going for a walk could be rest. Reading a book where your brain is active could be rest. Listening to music could be rest. Building Lego or going to the gym or whatever it is a form of rest. But you've got to figure out what type of rest works for you, what type of rest recharges you. So see rest as plugging a battery into your charger. Your cell phone won't last forever. You've got to plug it into the charger so that it can last a couple of hours. Rest is when the body needs that little bit of a quick recharge. So go figure out what works the best for you. I'm in my phone. If I plug it in for 5 minutes, not going to make a difference. If it's on 10%, plug it in for 5 minutes. It might be on 15%. It's not going to last that long. So I know with my phone, I need to plug it in at a certain time to let it charge for a certain time to get the best optimal results from it. Ladies and gentlemen, your body works the same way. You gotta plug it into the rest charger and figure out what is the cycle, how much time does it need, what kind of a charger works. I mean, I can plug my phone into a variety of different chargers, and we all know the car charger and the fast charger and the slow charger, and they all give different results. What works the best for your body? Because your body's a battery, so allow it to be charged. All right, next one up. Environment in the workspace. Now, is something that's kind of really interesting. I don't think we always admit to how much does the environment you are working in affect your efficiency. Some, and again, everybody's different. Some people need a very serene, I always want to say cold slab where there's nothing and only the laptop on the desk. If there's two pieces of paper lying on that workspace, it's too confusing, it's too disorganized, and they can't function. Me, man, if you see my desk, stuff's piled on my desk. I've got a really busy desk. I know where everything is. Yeah, it's all here. Big piles of stuff, computers, printers there, piles of paper, and notebooks, manuals, more notebooks. I've got a lot of notebooks. I make hundreds and hundreds of notes the whole time. I've probably got about 100 pens on my desk, five pairs of glasses. I've got tons of stuff on my desk. My desk is chaos. But somehow, and I know it sounds strange, somehow it works for me. Um, I enjoy this space. I'm going to say this again. I enjoy this space. It makes me smart. It makes me happy. If it's too organized, it feels too formal. When my desk is dear mekaar, when it's a big gemors, when it's all the stuff is lying on top of each other and papers, it's almost like I've taken away formality of work. And you know what? This is my space. This is my chill space. If it's chaos, it's my chaos. I make the rules here. And it somehow has a very interesting effect on my subconscious mind. And I'm more creative and I'm more effective. So, what kind of a work environment do you function in at your prime? You've got to understand, what does it look like? Um, so some people, and I know, so I can't work, for example, I won't be able to sit in a coffee shop and be on my computer. I'll be way too distracted. I can't function at my prime if I can see other people. To me, that's kind of I'm talking about people moving around that's not directly related with me. That'll be a massive distraction. But I know people that really function extremely well like that. They'll sit in that coffee shop behind the computer, um, and they in prime. They function. Some people need white noise in the background. Some people need loud, beautiful, deep music, or I don't know, Led Zeppelin, whatever, classical, whatever, white noise. I don't know. What works for you? Figure out what works for you. What makes you effective? All right. I'm just giving you all the categories that you can take note on. Next one. What is your information diet? Your information diet. So let me just quickly, um, how do we put this? What we eat does have, we all know this, what types of food we eat does have an effect on our energy levels. Our nutrition has an effect on our energy levels. What we don't always realize is what we take in mentally throughout the day also has an effect on our energy levels. There are some people, once you've had a conversation with them, you feel drained. You're like, oh, I just want to go sleep now. You can't even lift your arms. You're so exhausted after you had a conversation with them. Certain types of information, certain types of meetings, certain colleagues or people that work for you that's got to report back or whatever. Have you ever analyzed which mental influences inspires you and or energizes you and which ones drain you? There are some people that once you've spoken to them, you feel really, really energized. There are people in my life, um, man, they just energize me. I perform better after I had a conversation with them. There are people in my life that once I've had the conversation, all I want to go do is sleep. I want to go hide in a dark space and just recluse for 3 hours and recharge because I'm drained after the conversation. And that's information. Those conversations, that's intellectual dialogue, that's information. A lot of people during the work days, they'll jump on their phones and they'll start scrolling through social media. Have you ever noticed how do you feel once you've scrolled for 30 minutes? What does it do to your energy levels? Now, I know there are people, they social, junkies. They got it at them and they feel it's like, man, I feel so much better. A lot of people, once they've scrolled for 30 minutes, they're lethargic afterwards. What puts you into a better physical, mental, and efficient state? What is those elements? And we're going through 10 of them, and we're on number nine, and the last one is not not a bad idea to create some kind of a self check-in ritual for yourself. So a lot of us have diaries. A lot of people have almost like journals where you write things down on a regular basis. Have you ever considered having an energy section in your journal where you have a page and all you do is the end of each day or early in the morning, just make a couple of notes. Today I functioned extremely well. My energy levels was high. What happened? What I remember about it? What was I doing? And just go through this list of 10 elements and just make a couple of notes around them. Not all of them. Don't focus on all 10 every day. It's going to take too much time. Pick one or two for a couple of days, a week or 2 weeks. Just focus on them, measure them, and try to figure that out. What's the reason behind this? Well, again, we need to understand that our energy levels is not a static line. Our energy levels is it's got peaks and it's got valleys. And it's not static, it's always changing, it's evolving as we are evolving. As we get older, it changes. As we get fitter or healthier, it changes. As we go through different careers, it's going to change. As we go into different seasons of life, it's going to change. The moment you realize this, you are empowering yourself to start measuring what works for you and what puts you in your peak performance state. And the moment you can figure that out, you've got the opportunity to start constructing your day around your peak performance. All your important tasks that really brings you the best results in your life, you do them in your peak performance time frames. So here's a little secret. What if you only have a 1, a 2, or 3, or a 4, or 5% improvement? It means it means you got a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4, or 5% increase in performance. Don't let these small percentages look not that important. You got to realize if you look at, just to give an example, if you look at the complexity of the brain of a baboon and you look at the complexity of the brain of a human being, our brain is only 7% more complex than that of a baboon. So, yeah, isn't that scary? Only 7%. So, what if you can figure out your prime time and that brings a 3% result in your life? That's massive. So, put in a little bit of energy and effort, go measure your own prime efficiency cycles, and start becoming limitless. Upgrade the results in your life. Because here's the cool thing about what I just discussed tonight. You don't have to change anything about you. You are perfect as you are. All you need to do is adapt some of your routines so that you function at your prime time in the day, so that you produce the best results. Easy as that. So you can become a better version of you by being just who you are at the best time and mechanism how you are the best version of you, and your results will be improved. I hope you guys, some of you guys, got something out of this tonight. If you did, I would love to see your comments or hear your comments. Give us a like in there, or just say something simplistic like hello, or give us a topic that you would like to hear me talk about. I'll see you guys exactly a week from now, right here on Limitless. You can follow us on our Action Factory Global Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or on my LinkedIn profile. I hope you guys enjoyed and got something out of tonight. I will see you a week from now. Be blessed, be amazing, and good evening. Have a nice one.